It was a gun battle between Mexican cartel and the Mexican military. There was witnesses that saw a helicopter in the area shooting down into the Mexican area. The cartel returned fire.
This video section demonstrates that Mr. Rincon's phone is being taken from him by you.
Yes.
Or a lady on this side got shot. Okay.
Does this video section demonstrate you taking Mr. Rincon's cell phone from his hand for a second time?
Yes.
What was the reason for you taking his cell phone for this second time?
We're just trying to get our point across, and so I felt that you were being distracted.
Are you familiar with the United States Appellate Court for the Fifth Circuit's ruling in Turner versus Driver from February 2017?
No.
Gonna have to stop the recording. Judy, back up.
We are on the record. Before we do an introduction, some admin stuff to get on the record. Mr. Rincon, will you be the custodian of the exhibit since there's no court reporter today?
Correct.
Okay. Will the witness, in case it does get transcribed, will the witness waive signature? Or does the witness want to read the...
The witness would like to review and
Okay.
sign, yes.
Very good. This is the video deposition of Officer Ernesto Elizondo III in the matter of Ismael Rincon versus City of Laredo et al. Cause number 521CV45, pending it in the United States District Court, Southern District of Texas, Laredo Division. We're located at Texas Pictorial, 2611 East Elm Street, Laredo, Texas. Today's date is July 6, 2023. The time is 8:58 a.m. My name is George Gonzalez. I'm the videographer and notary public. Will counsel please introduce themselves and whom they represent?
Alicia Cray, representing Mr. Elizondo.
Ismael Rincon, I'm a pro se plaintiff.
Mr. Elizondo, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may lower your hand. We may proceed.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Elizondo.
Morning.
As you may be aware, I am a pro se plaintiff in this matter, which you're being deposed. Ismael Rincon versus yourself, other officers with whom you work in the city of Laredo. Do you understand?
I do.
Do you mind if I refer to you as officer, or do you prefer other?
Mr.'s fine.
Mr.?
Yep.
Okay. Just want to let you know that I will try and make this deposition as brief as reasonable. We are scheduled for a couple hours, but hopefully we can complete this in less time.
Sure.
The questions, any reference to myself will be as Mr. Rincon, okay?
Yes, sir.
If I ask you a question you do not understand, just let me know and then I'll repeat or try to rephrase it. Otherwise, I think we can proceed, okay?
Yes, sir.
Going over a couple of things. I'm going to remind you that you're under oath, which means you agreed and are required to tell the truth, and you plan to do that today, right?
Of course.
For this deposition, today we're going to try and preserve a clear record. So when I ask a question, I would appreciate a yes or a no for an answer, using ordinary words instead of hand gestures alone, as it it'll be clear for the transcript.
Yes.
Also, if you'd like to take a brief break, you're welcome to. Just let me know and we will. However, don't try and take a break between questions. Okay?
Yes.
Regarding, there's some exhibits. Exhibit 3 and Exhibit 4 are referring to body cameras and dash cam Officer Benavides on April 27, 2019 encounter on my property. This footage was provided by Laredo Police Department in response to my later public information request. Exhibit 5A through C referenced in this deposition refer to footage from my cell phone camera from the same incident. Okay?
Yes.
Will you please state your name for the record?
Ernesto Elizondo III.
Are you currently taking any medications that would interfere with the ability to complete this deposition today?
I am not.
Do you have any medical conditions that would interfere with the ability to proceed with the depositions today?
Thankfully, no.
Did your attorney help prepare you for this deposition?
Objection, privileged.
Let's proceed. Who's your current employer, sir?
The City of Laredo Police Department,
Okay. What is your present job title?
investigator.
Investigator. How long have you been employed with City of Laredo?
Be 25 years, I'm sorry, and next month.
Yes. Were you employed by the City of Laredo on April 27, 2019?
Yes, I was.
What was your job title at the time?
Investigator.
Investigator. What is your present age?
I am currently 49 years old.
Were you born in the United States of America?
Yes.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime of moral turpitude?
No.
Do you know what a crime of moral turpitude is?
No.
You don't? So it means a crime involving dishonesty, fraud, things of that nature.
Okay.
Do you have any convictions of that?
No.
Have you ever been deposed in federal civil lawsuit?
Federal civil lawsuit? No.
Have you read the original complaint or the amended complaint?
Yes.
Okay. On the date of the event, were you employed by the City of Laredo as a peace officer the date of the encounter with Mr. Rincon in April 2019?
Yes.
What was your work schedule on Friday, April 26, 2019, and Saturday, 27, 2019, if you recall?
I believe at the time of the incident, I was working in overtime detail, and it was a 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. schedule.
Do you recall the shooting on April 26, 2019,
I do.
at approximately 10:30 p.m. involving Maria Barraza, the victim?
Yes. But I think the time is incorrect, right? You said it was 10:30?
10:30.
Maybe a little earlier, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's in the report.
Yeah, it's was it believed by the investigators to have been a .50 caliber weapon fired from across the border in Mexico whose bullet allegedly struck her in the cheek?
Objection calls for speculation. You can answer.
Okay. Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
Was it believed by the investigators to have been a .50 caliber weapon fired from across the border in Mexico whose bullet allegedly struck her in the cheek?
It wasn't alleged that it was a 50 caliber.
Okay.
Yes.
It was unfortunate. Do you believe the crime was solved? Do you know if the crime was solved, that crime?
No, because they believe that it came from international land, and so therefore it was difficult to investigate.
Do you recall what were you doing at the time of the April 27 shooting?
I was actually on duty prior to working the overtime, and we responded to numerous calls.
Did you appear on scene of Maria Barraza's home at any time immediately following the shooting?
I'm sorry?
Did you appear on the scene?
No, I did not appear on scene.
Did you prepare and submit any report regarding the shooting?
No.
At approximately 0038 hours, April 27, 2019, a couple hours later, you arrived in the area of 1102 South Meadow Avenue in Laredo, Texas, in your police cruiser. Is that correct?
Yes.
What prompted you to go to that location where you encountered Mr. Rincon?
So prior to working that area, that was a designated area. We're working a federal grant, which is called Operation Stone Garden. Prior to going there, we normally get briefed by a patrol sergeant, right, in charge of the operation. And they brief us on any concerns in the area. One of the major concerns was the case that you just discussed. It was a gun battle between Mexican cartel and the Mexican military. There was witnesses, Border Patrol namely, that saw a helicopter in the area shooting down into the Mexican area, and that everyone assumed that the cartel returned fire, which is probably what happened to the victim in the shooting case. And so as a result, there was a high alert, and we were told, hey, Border Patrol was on the river. Obviously that's their, priority and their responsibility. As Operation Stone Garden, we support their operation. Our job is to take a second line defense, which is normally in the streets. If they call out anything that might have gone through them, then that's our responsibility to assist them. And so that's kind of what led to our encounter.
Okay, so would you say it was routine patrol?
It's not routine patrol because it was a special operation to address the specific Border Patrol issues and matters and all that.
All right. Let me ask a question again. What prompted you to go to that specific location where you encountered Mr. Rincon? Dispatch, routine patrol, or were you in pursuit?
It was part of the operation that that was our designated area to work. So anywhere between, I think, Slaughter Park and like Maganaheim Road, more or less, that area, that was a designated area for our units to be working.
So you would
Me
say-
in specific, that was my area.
Okay.
Yeah. A pretty general area, but that was my area. Yeah.
Okay. What did you see when you arrived?
So when I parked at my post, I saw what appeared to be a male figure across the street. It looked like he was walking across a roadway that I'm familiar with that leads into a local park, right? And he was clearly armed with a long rifle.
Did you see Mr. Rincon in the area?
I saw a male subject. I later learned that was you.
Was Mr. Rincon within the boundaries of the city park?
It appeared that he crossed the street leading into the park.
Was he on private property?
At the time, I didn't know what property it was, but it appeared that it was dark and the subject was crossing through the road. And I think it was even the road of the inside of the park because there's like a metal gate or some sort.
Okay. Do you recall him telling you several occasions during this encounter that he was on his property?
I recall that when I confronted you in full uniform, I think I asked you, are you Border Patrol? That was my first mental thought. Was like, well, because of what we already know, maybe it's a special, Border Patrol unit or something.
Did Mr. Rincon state to you what he was doing?
I recall you saying that it was your property and then you're patrolling the land.
What did you observe Mr. Rincon doing when you approached him?
I think when we make verbal contact, I'm assuming that you saw me coming based on what I've read. I saw you walking towards me. You were wearing the khaki shirt that we just saw. You had the slinged rifle and a cap, I think.
You said, did he have a weapon? You said it was right.
Yeah, I observed a long rifle, yes.
How was he carrying and holding the rifle, if you recall?
Yeah, I do. It was slinged and it was pointed downwards.
Okay. Did he ever aim the rifle at you or anyone, to your knowledge?
No.
Do you recall aiming your service weapon at Mr. Rincon?
No, I do not.
Did you take possession of Mr. Rincon's Ruger .22 caliber rifle?
I did, yes.
How did you accomplish this?
I think there was an exchange between me and you. Eventually, I verbally and sternly informed you that I would be taking that rifle. And eventually, after some, verbal hesitation on your part, I think you figured out that the best thing to do is to comply. And so I physically took it from you.
Did you place Mr. Rincon under arrest?
No, you were not under arrest.
Did you perform an external pat-down of Mr. Rincon or for other weapons at the time of the initial encounter?
You were at the initial encounter between me and you. I don't think initially you were patted down. At some point you were patted down. Yes, I do recall that.
Okay.
I don't recall the timeline exactly of if I took your weapon and then my backup arrived. But at one point you were patted down.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Did Mr. Rincon attempt to flee from you?
No, you did not.
Would you describe Mr. Rincon as physically non-combative or combative during this encounter?
I think at one point in reviewing the video, you were being patted down and you resisted a bit, right? but I don't think it was, too shocking or alarming. There was several officers there.
What did Mr. Rincon do to make you believe that he was dangerous during this initial encounter?
I just think that at the beginning it was just a very unfortunate. I think that I approached, I think, in a soft manner. I didn't have my lights on. It was clearly a marked unit. I was wearing a marked uniform. I was in duty, and some of the first things I said was, "Hey, like, are you border patrol or something along the lines?" But based on the information that we had, I said that this needs to be checked out, and so that's how I felt. Yeah.
Do you recall handcuffing Mr. Rincon at this moment?
I don't recall. I don't think I did the handcuffing. I think there was a second officer that did the handcuffing.
Do you recall using your issued service radio to request officers for support backup?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Do you recall using your service radio to
Okay.
request other officers for support or backup?
I think I might have radioed something in because they showed up. Yeah, so that's quite of a blur, but I might have. Yes.
Did you request? Did this request come after you secured Mr. Rincon's .22 caliber rifle?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that it was simultaneous. I think that we kept each other kind of like the way we are now, and then I felt backup go, and then that's kind of when if I remember correctly, I think.
What do you recall stating in general terms, if you cannot recall specifically what you said, your requirement for the needing for backup?
I don't recall. I must have said something. We normally communicate on a different channel because it's high intensity. We stop and investigate a lot of suspicious activity. So I must have said something like, the location and somebody assist, I guess.
Okay.
Generally.
Was Mr. Rincon under arrest at any time during this encounter, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, you were never under arrest.
Did you ask him to produce his identification?
I asked.
Yeah.
You were repeatedly asked to produce your identification.
Did Mr. Rincon comply with the request?
Did I remember that you didn't? So I think it was taken from you.
Were you wearing a body-worn camera during this encounter?
I was not assigned a body-worn camera.
Did any officer respond to your radio call for backup?
Several officers showed up. Yes.
How long would you estimate it took for them to arrive?
I would say probably a minute or two.
Less than 5 minutes?
I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, now we're moving into one of the exhibits. It's going to be Exhibit 4. Okay, that's 1.5. Okay. We're going to watch from minute 0 seconds to 25 seconds, 25-second mark. Sorry. Okay. Would you agree this is the location where the encounter with Mr. Rincon?
Yes.
Would you agree there are at least 5 police department cruisers on scene?
I didn't get to count those, but I would agree that about that many.
I would have played again.
No, that's fine. No, I would agree with you.
Would you agree that there are at least 7 officers on scene?
I wouldn't know about the 7. I think there's 5 because that's the number of investigators that worked on the details. So I would agree that they all showed up. There could have been some others.
Would you agree that Officer Benavides is speaking with you at that point?
Benavides?
Yeah.
I don't think he had a body cam. I don't think it was Benavides. Or is it? Because it says Rodriguez. I'm sorry. I'm reading that.
Rodriguez is the public information.
That's the one that burned it for you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not too sure. I vaguely remember anybody approaching me. I remember doing that to your weapon to secure it, but I don't remember who talked to me.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing up to second number 32. Okay. Did Officer Benavides tell you that the rifle you were inspecting was a AR-22 caliber rifle?
I think I can't really hear what's being said, but I think I heard that in the audio. I don't remember it then, but now that I'm hearing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you state to Officer Benavides that Mr. Rincon told you he was the alleged landowner on which property the encounter took place?
I don't recall that.
Don't recall.
I don't recall. Yeah.
You want me to play it again?
If it's there, then it was said, but I just don't recall it. As you're asking me, I don't recall that.
Okay. Well, let's play it again from the 26th morning to. Let's just start from there.
Ruger 1022. Yeah, it's a Ruger 1022.
So is that the part where you're saying?
So, going back to this question, did you state to Officer Benavides that Mr. Rincon told you he was the alleged landowner?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall? Okay, we're gonna switch to exhibit number 3. It's gonna be 1 minute 47-second mark. I'm gonna start it at 41 because I'm not gonna go to 47. Oh, I'm sorry, it's gonna go up to this 2 minute 35-second mark.
Someone dispatch and Ernesto. Yeah, I didn't break for season. For which one takes to work on. It's in the other thing.
You get the judge here, 500 feet.
Okay.
Police provided the tax here by Fabio Cimeno.
74, go ahead.
Does this video section demonstrate Mr. Rincon making several requests to other officers for your name and badge number?
I don't know what this video does. Like, I didn't hear it on there. I know that you eventually do. We hear it on there, but you're asking me about this clip,
Right.
but I don't
Right
see
now.
it. Yeah, it's kind of far, right?
Does this section demonstrate you, Officer Elizondo, walking away from the hood of your cruiser towards Mr. Rincon?
Yes.
What was your intention as you approached him?
I don't recall it. Was I gonna go meet with everybody else to follow up what was going on? I think they were still trying to get you to say your name, and yeah. I think there's some other videos that you have that show all that. Right?
Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay.
Does this video section demonstrate you, Officer Elizondo, reaching and apparently taking Mr. Rincon's cell phone while he was recording the encounter in Exhibit 3, what we just played right now?
I can't see it from here because this is a poor, poor image, I guess, or it's very distant. But what you're referring to does come out on a different video. So on this one, you're asking me about this video, I don't see it here.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just trying to clarify it.
All right. Okay, so let's look at the other exhibit then. This would be Exhibit 5A.
No.
Okay. It's gonna play from minute 0 seconds to 38-second mark.
No. What's your meeting?
0002864.
Why are we making an issue?
Porque it shouldn't be an issue, todo es mi propiedad. It shouldn't be an issue.
We just want to make sure. You can record all you want.
1332, estamos despachando, Black Hills.
Just give me your name.
¿Cómo se llama?
Just give me your name.
You're watching in a break for Jesus.
You see my name here.
No,
Provo 216 over.
You're gonna talk to him right now.
¿Cómo te llamas tú?
Let's give you the 10.
What's your name?
Hey, ¿cómo te llamas?
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Check your
I just want your name.
¿Cómo te llamas? Does this video demonstrate you approaching Mr. Rincon?
Yes.
Does this video section demonstrate Mr. Rincon making requests for your name and badge number to other officers?
Yes.
Does this video section demonstrate that Mr. Rincon's phone is being taken from him by you?
Yes.
Did you ask Mr. Rincon to give you his cell phone?
Don't think so. No.
Why did you take Mr. Rincon's cell phone?
I think that it was a distraction, and we were in a heightened sense of alert because of all the things I've already explained to you. And so I think that you were distracting yourself from something that should have been a little bit quicker.
Would you say that this video section demonstrates Mr. Rincon willingly giving you his cell phone?
No.
Would you say that this video section demonstrates you used force to grab the phone and hit or push Mr. Rincon backwards in order to take possession of his cell phone?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion. You can answer.
No.
Is there a name used by the Laredo Police Department or its officers for this technique of taking someone's cell phone or other small property?
No.
During this encounter at this time, was Mr. Rincon holding his phone an illegal act or a crime?
No.
During this encounter at this time, was Mr. Rincon holding his phone and recording the encounter an illegal act or crime?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion.
No.
Okay, let's go back to Exhibit 3. It was 2-minute 35-second mark to 2-minute 50-second mark. 35. I'm gonna start at 2:24.
When provided the tags here by Barrio Cemento.
74, go ahead.
George Mary Sam, 0798, Texas. Come back to a Ford Death Street.
Does this video section demonstrate you directing Officer Fernandez to handcuff Mr. Rincon?
From this standpoint, I cannot determine that.
Did this video section depict Mr. Rincon attempting to flee?
No.
Did this video section demonstrate that he was threatening any of the officers?
No.
Did this video section demonstrate Mr. Rincon being violent or acting as a threat to anyone?
No.
Does this video section demonstrate that there are at least 3 officers surrounding Mr. Rincon?
Yes.
Does this video section demonstrate that Lieutenant R. Ramirez was within approximately 7 feet of Mr. Rincon while he was being handcuffed?
Yes.
Why did you direct Officer Fernandez to handcuff Mr. Rincon?
I think that based on everything I said before, our very heightened sense of alert that we had in that area, based on the information that you also learned, which is on the Mexican cartel having a shootout, it's common knowledge and intelligence, and then what happens when there's a battle like that. A lot of those criminal subjects flee into the United States, and so we received that information from Border Patrol. Did it happen that night? I don't know, but when we were briefing earlier that day, that's the understanding and the perception that we get is that, hey, this might be something that we encountered tonight. And so, being that when I saw you, I had that feeling that maybe he's law enforcement, but when we quickly determined that you were not because you just didn't want to cooperate with any of my requests, I felt that you were dragging it on and we needed to be there longer than we had to. At one point, I think you just needed to be secured. I don't know to what level it would have mounted, but you just seemed like you were notching up, your lack of cooperation with the police.
Was Mr. Rincon under arrest at this point?
You were not under arrest, no.
Do the video sections presented thus far demonstrate that Mr. Rincon was asked to provide his personal identification to the officers on at least 2 or more occasions?
I don't think I've heard that in these videos. Based on the videos, you're asking me if I've heard that? I don't think you've played anything that shows that.
To your knowledge, did Mr. Rincon comply with this request?
I don't recall. I don't recall how we ended up getting your information.
Let's look at Exhibit 4. Two-minute, 35-second mark. Through 2-minute, 50-second mark.
Yeah, it comes out of your cell phone. It'll.
Hey, there was your company 16, just 633, coming up. Let me up here, right?
That's an illegal search,
Wearing
man.
t-shirt, black pants.
Yeah.
On this video section, does this video section depict you and Officer Fernandez reaching into Mr. Rincon's pocket?
Yes.
What were you searching for?
You were failing to provide identification, if I recall correctly.
So what were you searching for?
There must have been a multitude of things because the identification, you had a weapon, your lack of cooperation, so it's a Terry frisk. And so the whole thing is a Terry stop. And so we're searching you for additional weapons.
We'll get to that in a bit. Does this video section accurately depict Mr. Rincon protesting your search of his pockets and person by stating, no, illegal search, man, illegal search?
Yes.
Does this video section depict you, Officer Elizondo, taking Mr. Rincon's wallet or other articles of property from Mr. Rincon's person?
Yes.
What was the purpose of your taking Mr. Rincon's wallet?
To obtain your information.
Was Mr. Rincon required to provide you with that information?
I don't recall.
Can you try answering that question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat it?
Was Mr. Rincon required to provide you with that information?
It would have been helpful to minimize everything that happened from the beginning, just to provide your information, so we can verify that you own the land and you were not the threat that we thought you were. Right. And so you were being legally detained. You were not under arrest. But I think that in an effort to satisfy all the concerns that we had, it was necessary to identify you. But at that point, you were not under arrest. So
can you
so
answer
no.
this one with a yes or no? Oh,
No.
no. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go back to Exhibit 4. 3-minute 4-second mark through 3-minute 8-second mark. I'm gonna start it at 3:01.
Oye, ¿tienes ranking o sabes?
Does this video section, depict you referring to Mr. Rincon as a cabron?
yes.
What does cabron translate in English to your understanding?
I would say
circumstances.
like a jerk.
Did you call Mr. Rincon a cabron because he protested your search of his person?
I think it just culminated to that point, frustration with from the beginning.
At this time, was Mr. Rincon under arrest?
No, we're not under arrest.
Was Mr. Rincon being held handcuffed and in custody because he was not answering questions?
You were handcuffed and temporarily detained for the reasons that I stated earlier, which is everything kind of just escalated.
Can you answer with a yes or a no?
Objection asked and answered.
So, officer, do you know what question or questions Mr. Rincon was required to answer in order to end this encounter per Officer Benavides?
Objection calls for speculation.
You can still answer.
You're not required to answer any questions.
Did you remove Mr. Rincon's license or other identification card from Mr. Rincon's wallet, or was it Officer Fernandez?
I don't recall if I removed it or someone removed it, but eventually came into our possession.
Okay, so you don't recall.
I don't recall exactly how I got into.
Did you, by radio or otherwise, call in to your dispatch and provide them with Mr. Rincon's identifying driver's license number?
We did check, yes.
Did they confirm to you that Mr. Rincon had no active warrants?
They confirmed it. You were clear.
Did you then return from your cruiser and return Mr. Rincon's wallet, cell phone, and Ruger 22 caliber approximately 15 minutes later?
You got me in the timeline. I don't know about that, but everything was eventually returned to you.
Let's look at this Exhibit 4. 18-minute 10-second mark up to the 19-minute 3-second mark.
Listen up, man. Listen up. That's your problem. That's what's happening. Danny asked you, hey, you want to talk? You're here. For whatever reason, you think that you don't have to ID yourself. That's your problem. That is your problem. If you do a better job of identifying yourself, late at
Who's just
night,
lighting you up?
you're carrying this.
Hang us about to be exchanged.
No, report this, brother. You're carrying this late at night. Which is not legal. Listen, that's your problem. You're not a good listener. Okay. We're crossing the street. That's a public park. You own that side. That's a city park. Listen up. Listen up. That's a city park that we patrol. Okay. There was just a shooting on the Mexico side where a lady on this side got shot. Okay. There's plenty of witnesses. They're all cops, man. It's fuck. Listen.
So this video was after like approximately 15 minutes after you took Mr. Rincon's cell phone and wallet. Does this section of the video depict Officer Benavides directing Officer Fernandez to remove the handcuffs from Mr. Rincon?
I don't recall how or when you got the handcuffs removed. Eventually you did. I just don't recall who did it or at what point.
Was this done with your authorization or approval?
I don't recall that it required that. I think, no. Or not that it wasn't, because of my approval. I just, they were removed. I don't know at what point, how that was decided.
Does this section of the video, my exhibit 4, 18-minute 10-second mark to 19-minute 3-second mark, depict Mr. Rincon after receiving his cell phone from you, activating the camera and recording you and this encounter from the second time? For a second time, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Does this video section demonstrate you taking Mr. Rincon's cell phone from his hand for a second time?
Yes.
Did you turn off his cell phone recording application or a function?
I don't recall that.
Does this video section demonstrate that you withheld Mr. Rincon's phone from him and then several seconds later placed in his shirt pocket?
Yes. You're confusing me with a shirt pocket. I'm sorry, Mr. Rincon. I'm seeing that I placed it in your hand. That's where I'm getting confused about the shirt pocket part.
Okay.
You're seeing the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I returned the phone to you.
Okay, that's fair enough. Let's move on to the next question. What was the reason for you taking his cell phone for this second time?
I think you were still trying to prolong the amount of time that we had to be there. We're just trying to get our point across, and so I felt that you were being distracted.
We have another angle. That would be Exhibit 5B. It's going to be from the 0 minute 0 second to 38-second mark.
That's your problem. That is your problem, man. If you do a better job of identifying yourself late at night, you're carrying this.
Hey, it's about to be exchanged.
No, record this, brother. You're carrying this late at night.
Which is not legal.
Listen, that's your problem. You're not a good listener.
Okay.
We're crossing the street. That's a public park. You own that side. But that's a city park that. Listen up. That's a city park that we patrol.
Okay.
There was just a shooting on the Mexico side where a lady on this side got shot. Okay.
Does this video section depict essentially the same account as my Exhibit 4 that we just watched at minute 18, 10 seconds through 19, 3 seconds, just presented to you?
It appears so, yes.
Why was Mr. Rincon held for approximately 20 minutes?
That was the amount of time that we had to do just a minor investigation, run your information, determine that you're being truthful.
What crime did you suspect Mr. Rincon of having committed, if any?
No crime.
Do you recall Mr. Rincon stating that Officer Fernandez injured his shoulder when you and he searched his pockets?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall that Mr. Rincon requested EMS assistance on at least 3 occasions after Officer Fernandez injured his shoulder?
I recall mention of it. I don't know how many times, but there was mention of towards the end.
Why was EMS not contacted?
I don't know who that was directed towards. I just didn't feel like that was directed towards me.
What did Lieutenant Ramirez, badge number 640, say to you about this encounter being
But
handled?
I don't recall.
Officer Elizondo, do you believe that your conduct and actions during this encounter with Mr. Rincon did not violate any Laredo Police Department policies existing at that time?
Objection calls for legal conclusion.
You can answer.
I don't feel I violated any policies.
Do you believe that your conduct and actions during this encounter with Mr. Rincon did not violate any laws or statutes existing at the time?
Objection calls for legal conclusion.
You can answer.
I don't feel like I violated any laws.
Are you familiar with the United States Appellate Court for the Fifth Circuit's ruling in Turner versus Driver from February 2017?
No.
Did you have any training regarding this ruling for citizens' right to record public servants in the performance of their official duties?
I don't recall.
Are you familiar with the United States Supreme Court ruling in Terry v. Ohio from 1968?
Familiar with it.
Did you have any training regarding this ruling, a detainment and external pat-down for a suspect believed to be armed and dangerous?
I don't recall.
Okay. Yeah.
The time is 9:55, we're off the record. The time is 10:05, we're on the record.
Okay, Mr. Elizondo, this would be the last question. For purposes of possible award of punitive damages to the plaintiff in this case, can you approximate your net worth in dollars this time?
I cannot, no.
Do you recall how many vehicles do you own?
How many vehicles I own?
Mhm.
2 vehicles.
Do you recall how much real estate do you own or have an interest in?
No, I do not.
How much were you paid by Laredo PD last year?
My salary last year was approximately 90,000.
How much do you anticipate being paid this year?
The same.
Okay, now this is the last question, I'm sorry. If this encounter were to take place today, would you conduct yourself exactly as you did back in April 27, 2019, or would you change anything?
Objection calls for speculation.
Thanks to answer.
I don't know.
If you would change anything, what would you do differently?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's it for me. That's it for me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I reserve.
This is the end of the deposition. The time is 10:07, we're off the record.